Snails. Unfortunately, I have not seen any commercial products for killing snails and slugs that I would use in the food forest. If a product containing an iron phosphate blend also has EDTA or metaldehyde in it, it will kill your microbes and earthworms and sicken dogs and cats. Unfortunately, the Premier Brands packages do not mention that they contain EDTA or metaldehyde, is what I've heard. So anyway, we can get away with not using commercial products. Since snails and slugs love wet environments, water your plants in the morning instead of the evening to keep them from being wet all night. Beer traps seem to be marginally useful, but widely talked about on the internet. You could place a log or piece of wood out in a sunny area for the snails to hide under on hot days. Once they assemble under it, you can quickly gather them all at once. I often find snails too in our drain pipes. And let's see. You could place a white vinegar and salt solution in a spray bottle and spritz it onto snails and slugs to kill them quickly. But I don't know, it sounds kind of gross, but you could do it. To make the solution, you combine 2 cups of vinegar and 2 tablespoons of salt. So that just kind of like acidifies and salts them. Hand pick the snails early in the morning, cut them in half and dispose of them. If you do not want to cut them, you can try hand picking the snails, bagging them up and putting them in the trash, or like we have done sometimes, we take them down to this local duck pond that we have nearby. So if you have a duck pond nearby, you could bring the snails over to the ducks. Or if you're creative and you enjoy cooking, you could try gathering your snails and cooking them up into escargot. In Europe, snails are a popular food that is farmed and celebrated with escargot festivals. They eat them by the ton. And I did look up how to cook them. It looks like you have to feed them with cornmeal for a while until their poop comes out cornmeal looking. And then you know their bodies are cleaned out, and then you begin like a process of cooking them. But you can look that up. I've never done that. So, but I've seen that people do that. Okay, so I did check out most of our snails on the iNaturalist app. The ones that we have here are one of the kinds you can eat. They're called Helix aspersa. So I'm keeping that in mind in case we ever need to eat our snails. You need to thoroughly cook snails like you would pork to kill any parasites they may have. Do research escargot recipes to learn how to prepare them. And also rats, mice, raccoons, and skunks eat snails too. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe even coyotes. And I have found empty snail shells in a hiding place, like under a little footbridge. So I know that there are predators, snail predators out in the garden. I mostly used to get concerned with snails when I had the aquaponics system, but here out in the food forest, it's kind of it balances itself out. If I happen to see snails on a precious little plant that I just love, I will take the snails and put them somewhere else. But usually I haven't been worried about snails for a while now. Okay, that's snails.